last rites of the late Union Minister VILAS PASWAN to be performed in Patna with full state honours. Leaders and prominent personalities pay their last respects to the LJP founder in Patna. In Jammu and Kashmir, 2 terrorists killed in an encounter with security forces in Kulgam district. The identity and group affiliation of the killed terrorists is being ascertained. The encounter breaks out late last night following specific inputs about the presence of terrorists. In COVID-related news, the new recoveries in India have exceeded the new cases for the 3rd straight week, and the new cases have shown a steady decline. Active caseload drops below 9 lakhs for the first time after a month. Recovery rate goes up to 85.81%. In international news, Armenia and Azerbaijan agreed to a ceasefire after marathon talks held in Moscow. The Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov says that both nations also agreed to start talks on the settlement of a conflict. And in sports, Sofia Kenin will face Iga Swiatek in the women's singles final today, and Rafael Nadal to take on Novak Djokovic in the men's final on Super Sunday. Namaskar and welcome to the news. I'm Mark Lynn. Here's our top story. The last rites of the late Union Minister and the LJP founder VILAS PASWAN will be performed in a short while from now in Patna with full state honours. Earlier, leaders and prominent personalities from all walks of life paid their last respects to the departed leader. The national flag is being flown at half-mast in Patna as a mark of respect to the late Union Minister. Earlier, the mortal remains of VILAS PASWAN were taken from Delhi to Patna in a late last evening in the flight there. And after the Legislative Assembly building, his body was taken then to the party headquarters, the Patna party office, and then placed in the party office for others to pay tribute. The Bihar Chief Minister Nitish Kumar, the Deputy Chief Minister Sushil Modi and several other leaders paid their last respects to PASWAN. And Union Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad said that the late Union Minister VILAS PASWAN will be remembered always for his work, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic.
रामविलास जी बिहारी नहीं देश के नेता थे। वो एक जन नेता थे। एक इतने साधारण परिवार से आगे बढ़कर 9 बार लोकसभा के एमपी होना, 2 बार राज्यसभा के एमपी होना, 6 प्रधानमंत्री का काम करना और बहुत ही योग्य मंत्री। मैं उनके साथ अटल जी की सरकार में कोयला खान राज्य मंत्री था। मैं उनकी क्षमता जानता हूं और जिस तरह से कोरोना काल में देश के खाद्य आपूर्ति मंत्री को उन्होंने काम किया, वो आपने देखा होगा पूरे देश में प्रधानमंत्री की अगुवाई में। तो आज उनके जाने की बहुत पीड़ा है। बिहार को अपूरणीय क्षति हुई है, देश को हुई है और उन्होंने उपेक्षितों की एक बहुत बड़ी आवाज बने।
And Shweta Singh now joins us from Patna. Well, Shweta, when a leader of prominence who's played a significant role for over 50 years is being bid farewell, then obviously a large number of people will be expected to gather for the last rites. Shweta, probably not able to hear us. I think she's contacting us. We'll try and establish contact with Shweta in a short while. But clearly we can see that the situation is being prepared then for the last rites of the late Union Minister, for the mortal remains to be. And we continue to remain with this story. We continue to remain with the story, and as I said, that people in large numbers will be gathering when a leader of prominence is being bid farewell. And we can see that a large number of people have gathered in Patna for the last rites of VILAS PASWAN. And as the Union Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad, who has been a colleague of VILAS PASWAN, said that he played a significant role, especially during the COVID-19 times. Yes, Shweta, you're with us now. So, you know, we just saw in the visuals a large number of people standing at some distances. So, because, you know, I mean, people will obviously want to come out for an event like this because they want to pay their last respects, and also as a tribute to the contribution that VILAS PASWAN made over the last 50 years in public life. So, you know, what are the kind of arrangements being made for social distancing and also to maintain the dignity of the occasion?
Actually, Mark, you see, administration is really facing a challenge over here. It is a tough time for them. They have made all the arrangements so that people are masked up, and then they maintain the social distancing. But you see, there is, as expected, there were only 100 chairs arranged so that people don't come in huge number and crowd this ghat, because definitely it's corona pandemic spread is there. But you see, from the district there are so many people who are the ardent supporters. They have come to pay their last tribute to Mr. Shri VILAS PASWAN, and because of that, you see, even in 3 layers, you can see there people are standing in row, 200 meters of straight line till the ghat water. It's a huge V line, and then people definitely, I would say, social distancing, it's being a bit difficult for them, because everybody wants to be closer to the spire so that they have a look of Mr. VILAS PASWAN, the last tribute they can pay to him. So around the place I'm standing, in circle, I would say till 200, 300 meter B line is there of his supporter, whose love for Mr. VILAS PASWAN have pulled them in this scorching heat to stand here for hours and wait for the dead body of his leader to come here. So people are...
so when will it come, Shweta? When will the body come?
Social distancing is a bit issue over here, but yes, people are masked up.
So when are we expecting
Actually, Mark, you see, from Krishnapuri to Digha Ghat, it is not very far off. It's not very far off. It's like, because of lockdown, there is not much road jam as well. So it wouldn't have taken more than 30 minutes. But because the Shav Yatra, people on the roads are also coming, and because of that reason, it has been slowed down. And hence, we are waiting for, even I think it's an hour that I'm waiting, I expected his body to be earlier, before half an hour. But even till now it have not come, as I was given reports from my reporter on the field, that even the Shav Yatra is being very slow because of people from all the colonies and all coming on the road to see the Shav Yatra. Because of that, it is a bit, the movement have been slowed, else it's not very far off from the Krishnapuri.
And if we talk about the rites itself, Shweta, you know, put it into context, because people may be watching for the first time, they may not understand what exactly is the process that will be followed. You know, what procedures will be followed for the last rites?
Mark, actually, people are chanting so loudly that it's a bit difficult to hear you. But what I could fathom from your is you want to know the Antim Sanskar, what procedure is going to be taken here. So here you see the sandalwood have been brought here in huge number. I would say it's a huge lot here of sandalwood, and already the arrangement on the fire is made. So the Antim Sanskar will be as such, I'm seeing is a Hindu Sanskar, what we see, fire, through the fire that will be going, and sandalwood here is in a huge number. Chanting around of his supporters, it's so strong that other voice is subdued.
Indeed, yes indeed. So, well, we continue to remain with this story, Shweta, because that's the situation, it's the main story as we speak. And so we wait for the mortal remains to arrive there for the last rites, and you told us, you know, that they will follow the traditions that have been maintained as per the policies that are there in place. But you know, there is a sense of, let's try and put into context the contribution of VILAS PASWAN, and people are feeling, you know, that there is a loss, a sense of loss, and it comes at a time of an election also. So this is, you know, it has to be put into context of how people understand this and how they are, let's say, how they are understanding the current time.
Mark, the truth is Mr. Ram-Vilas Paswan was a leader of the downtrodden, the poor, the people who didn't have voice. So Mr. Ram-Vilas Paswan was voice in the parliament of these downtrodden of Bihar.
Yes.
He had deep support, very strong support from the district. You see, even from Hajipur, what is here, 1,000 of people have come from Hajipur in this heat. Just to have his last glimpse, you can understand the connection he had on the ground with the people. That even in this pandemic, people don't want to lose the opportunity of seeing their leader here.
Right.
So hordes and hordes of people are gathered in Patna. So entire Patna, I would say, not only this ghat, but entire Patna, because they had his body kept in the Krishnapuri Avas, then Vidhan Sabha campus, and in the airport also. So every place where his last darshan was to be done, so it was huge crowd. And see, he was he was leader of the downtrodden.
Yes,
so indeed. People expected him to give him their voice, voice to their pain, what they wanted. See, when he is no more after such a long career in politics, giving voice to it is a really loss to, I would say, people on the ground. So it's really painful for them. That you can see here also. That pain you can feel here, a feeling of loss.
Indeed, so there is a feeling of loss, and he is a leader of the people who were marginalized. And when one needs to also look at his entry into politics, it came back way back in 1968. And you know, he had actually been given, he had gotten into the police force. He was had achieved the position of a deputy superintendent of police. And then it was a question that was put to him, you know, do you want to serve the people? And he realized that serving the people in politics is a much more important, you know, than in the police force. And we can see that, you know, from that day onwards, he has been in electoral politics and has won so many elections with huge margins. And that is a testament of democracy in our country, and also how a leader can come from somewhere and be elected and be, you know, represent such a vast number of people for so many years. And that, I think, is really the contribution. And you can, so in Bihar politics, one can say that there is a huge void because of Paswan's demise.
Yes, true.
Yes, indeed.
True, very true.
So tell us a little bit more also about the number of people who are there.
Mark, because we lost. Mark, I would say there, from my spot, I can see 3 major lines, major B line, approximately 300 to 400 meter long, and people are like trying from any height. I would say there are, from any height they can find top of the car or from the crane. From here I can see they are trying to get a look what is happening on the spot. So there is a, I would say, just to have a glimpse, you see people are standing over here, 300, 200 meter long line. And the chanting goes on, Ram-Vilas Paswan Amar Rahe. So the feeling of the people coming out in the words Ram-Vilas Paswan Amar Rahe, so it's the chants continues. And all the major leaders have come here. Sushil Kumar Modi is there, Mr. Giriraj Singh is there, Ashwini Chaubey is there, Nityanand Rai is there. So leaders have come to pay their homage here. And Aam Janta from last 3 years,
what about the major dignitaries who would be present at the cremation ground at that venue? What about who are the major dignitaries? The Chief Minister, the Deputy Chief Minister, all of them will be present?
Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad have come already. Mr. Ashwini Chaubey is there. Okay. Nityanand Rai ji is there. And then other political leaders who are coming up in this election, Mr. Pappu Yadav. So many leaders have already come up, waiting for the last rite to see what is happening. So in the dignitaries, major dignitaries, Sushil Kumar Modi, he is there.
Yes.
They all have come here and they are sitting in the, waiting for the cremation rite to start.
So Shweta, we'll come back to you because the quality of the visuals is deteriorating right now because the signal quality is not very good. But we'll re-establish a better contact with you and come back in some time. Thanks very much for joining us in the meantime. Let's move on to our next story then. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has today invited suggestions for his monthly radio address, the Man Ki Baat program. And this program will take place on the 25th of this month. Asking people for their ideas, the Prime Minister tweeted, Man Ki Baat presents a great opportunity to share inspiring journeys of outstanding citizens and discuss themes that power societal change. And people are encouraged to share their ideas and suggestions on the Namo app, the MyGov app, or the, by recording their messages. And ahead of the third edition of the 2+2 dialogue between India and the United States later this month, the Indian ambassador to Washington, Taranjit Singh Sandhu, has underlined 5 broad principles to take the partnership between the two countries to the next level. These 5 principles are: look ahead, look broad, look deep, strengthen each other and explore together and shape together. The 2+2 dialogue is expected to take place on October 26 and 27 in New Delhi, during which both sides are likely to carry out a comprehensive review of their strategic cooperation. U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo and the Defense Secretary Mark Esper are scheduled to visit India for the dialogue. The dialogue is expected to take place on October 26 and 27 in New Delhi, during which both sides are likely to carry out a comprehensive review, as we said, of the strategic cooperation. The U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo and the Defense Secretary will be there. Now, an update on COVID-19 from across the country. The government today said that for the first time since the 9th of September, active cases of COVID-19 have fallen under the 9 lakh mark on October 9. And in a tweet, the Health Ministry said that this indicates a trend of a steady decline in active cases. This decline, in fact, has been possible due to the decrease in the number of active cases in 20 states and union territories over the last month. The ministry said that the centre's focused strategy of timely, high and widespread testing, combined with prompt isolation, effective tracking and efficient treatment, all these are, this is over a sustained period of time, all these have resulted in encouraging outcomes. Presently, the active cases stand at 8,83,185 and they comprise merely 12.65% of the total positive cases of the country, demonstrating a steady fall in percentage of the total cases. The total recovered cases stand at 59,88,822. The gap between the recovered cases and the active cases has crossed 50 lakh. The national recovery rate has jumped over 85.81%, and that is with continuous streak of high number of recovered cases being reported in the past few weeks. India has the highest number of recoveries from the infection in the world. The case fatality rate stands at 1.54%. According to the Indian Council of Medical Research, 11,64,018 samples were tested for COVID-19 on Friday. A total of 8,57,98,698 samples have been tested in the country so far. Now, setting another example of a robust Indo-U.S. partnership in the health sector, India has donated 1.8 million N95 masks to Philadelphia to help fight COVID-19. And India's ambassador to the U.S., Taranjit Singh Sandhu, informed about this in a tweet, and he said that while the move came after the mayor of Philadelphia, Jim Kennedy, requested India to supply the masks for the city's frontline workers, the move is also an indication of India's capabilities in manufacturing personal protective equipment, not only for domestic use but also for export purposes. And India had also supplied hydroxychloroquine, if one remembers, to the United States earlier. Well, the Air India has started operating additional flights from New Delhi to Sydney from today amid the central government's Unlock 5 phase. Air India will operate additional flights from Delhi to Sydney between the 10th and the 14th of October 2020. However, limited seats will be available because of COVID-19 restrictions enforced by the Australian authorities. Booking for these flights have already opened through the Air India website and booking offices and call centres. All scheduled commercial passenger flights were suspended in India on March 25 after the central government imposed a lockdown to contain the spread of COVID-19. The Indian Railways will now allow booking and cancellation of tickets till 5 minutes before the train leaves the station. The new rule, which will apply to all special trains being run, comes into effect from October 10. The pre-COVID system of preparing the second reservation chart 30 minutes before the departure of the train, which was not being followed for the last few months, has been restored by the Indian Railways. Due to the coronavirus pandemic, the time for preparation of the second reservation chart was shifted to 2 hours before the scheduled time of the train's departure. The first chart is prepared at least a few hours, or 4 hours in fact, before the scheduled departure of the train. Accordingly, the ticket booking facility, both online and on the PRS ticket counters, they shall be available before the preparation of the second chart, and all passenger train services are suspended. They were suspended due to the imposition of the nationwide lockdown that happened on March 25, but of course the Railways has resumed the services in a staggered manner from May 1. Some international news now. Armenia and Azerbaijan have agreed to a ceasefire from midnight of October the 10th. This breakthrough comes after marathon talks between the foreign ministers of both these countries and Moscow, and both the nations have agreed to an exchange of prisoners and bodies of those killed in the conflict. So addressing the media, the Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov has also said that Armenia and Azerbaijan have agreed to start talks on the settlement of the conflict.
First, a ceasefire is declared from 12 p.m. on October 10, 2020 for humanitarian purposes of the exchange of prisoners of war and other detained persons and bodies of the dead, mediated and in accordance with the criteria of the International Committee of the Red Cross. Second, the specific parameters of the ceasefire regime will be agreed upon additionally. Third, the Republic of Azerbaijan and the Republic of Armenia are starting substantive negotiations with the aim of achieving a peaceful settlement as soon as possible, with the mediation of the OSCE Minsk rogue co-chairs and on the basis of the basic principles of the settlement. Four, the parties confirm the permanence of the format of the negotiation process.
The High Commission of India in Dhaka has announced the resumption of visa services in several categories for Bangladeshi nationals. The High Commission announced that online visa application services for medical, business, employment, entry and journalist category, these categories have been resumed. And along with the online visa application process for diplomatic, official, the UN officials as well as UN diplomatic categories. The visa application process for other countries will also resume. It was suspended because of COVID-19. A large number of Bangladeshi citizens visit India for medical purposes and as students as well. Bangladesh sends the largest number of foreign tourists to India. In sports, American Sofia Kenin will face the Polish teenager Iga Swiatek in the French Open women's singles final today. Swiatek is the first Polish woman, in fact, to reach the Roland Garros final in 81 years, and she's fighting for her first Grand Slam title as well. And Sofia Kenin eyes her second Grand Slam title of the year. And in the men's singles final, the world number 1 Novak Djokovic will meet the world number 2 Rafael Nadal in the final. One couldn't ask for anything better. But this will be the 56th meeting between Djokovic and Nadal. It is the 18th Grand Slam title for it would be if Novak wins, and the 20th for Rafael if he wins. And with that, we conclude this bulletin. Thank you for being with us. Namaskar.